Hello and welcome to Smishing, a new type of a social engineering attack that has been widely used by attackers around the world to get people to reveal their confidential and sensitive information. So let's see how it works. So the basic idea of smishing is that it's social engineering via text messages. So you could receive a message like, for example, congratulations, you have won a Amazon gift card, or you've won a free bonus. You may have won free delivery of some interesting item. And the basic idea is that they want the user to click on the link that is included in the text message. Now, why do they want to do this? They want to do this in order to achieve a certain objective. Let's see what are the different steps in a smishing attack, right? So the first step is obviously it's the bait, it's the phishing text that you received on your mobile phone. The next step is that the victim, considering that they've actually won something, or they actually want to get a bonus, or a great deal which is being offered, they click the link. So either it's maybe clicking a link, or it could also be the SMS could be asking the end user to respond with some information in order to carry forward the communication. So once you click that link takes you to a malicious website which basically installs malware on your mobile phone or whatever device you're using. Or in addition to that, it can also extract sensitive information from that session. And the last step is that once your device or your account has been infected, the attackers basically want to exfiltrate data or your confidential information, for example, your passwords, your bank account information, your social security numbers, whatever they can get their hands on. And all of this is done through the malware or the malicious application that has been installed on your mobile phone as a consequence of following this link. So you have to be pretty careful with these type of attacks. Now, obviously, the basic idea is that it's text-based phishing, but the interesting point is that in general, smishing is much more successful than their traditional counterpart, which is phishing through emails. And the reason is because a lot of the time people give more importance and more credibility to whatever they receive on a text versus what they receive in emails, because we've been receiving spam and junk emails and all kinds of scams for a long time now on emails, right? So we are all sort of familiar with at least most of the scams. But when we receive a message on our mobile phones, it doesn't sort of clicks immediately, because it is something relatively new. So that's why these type of attacks are a bit more successful. Moreover, mobile devices have generally less security measures compared to your laptops or desktops with all the anti-malware, antiviruses, firewalls and everything. So that's why mobile devices by definition are generally a bit more trusting. Another important point is that attackers can sometimes spoof the number from which the message is being sent. So if you check the number, it may appear to actually come from that organization, from maybe Amazon, FedEx, whatever. This lends immense credibility to the message, and it's pretty hard for a normal end user to actually identify whether this is a smishing attack or not. We're going to share some tips later on in the lecture, which is going to help you do just that. Now let's look at some of the main objectives of smishing attacks. So one of the objectives could be to get your information, for example, to get your usernames, your passwords, or your account information, which the attackers can subsequently use to, extract information or, get financial benefits out of. It could also be, that smishing message could entice you to download or install an application which appears to be something very useful. It may be, for example, from your bank asking you to install a new version, a different version of their bank application, or it could be anything which entices the user to install it. Now that application could be malicious, and once you install that application on your mobile phone, that application gets a lot of access. You remember, whenever you install any application, you have to sort of agree to a long list of things which the application can do, and we don't actually go through the fine print and we just accept. So if the application is malicious, it can actually go ahead and get a lot of information out of your mobile phone and send it remotely to the attackers. The third objective could be to scam the users. Now in this case, they don't include any link or anything, but they may try to engage with you in a communication with the hopes of, later on using social engineering to trick you into revealing your confidential information. Let's have a look at some of the popular smishing attacks. So there was one which was early access Apple iPhone 12 scam, happened in 2020, and basically the SMS enticed people to provide their credit card information for a free iPhone 12. Now a lot of people are obviously interested in getting the latest version of iPhone as soon as possible, so that was something they were sort of, banking on. Now, there was a URL in that message which took people to a chatbot which looked like to be the one from Apple. And they said while the iPhone 12 is free, as part of a scheme, you have been selected as a small group of people to which iPhone would be provided. But they did say that in order to cover the shipping cost, which is just a small amount, you need to provide your credit card information. And that's how they were able to get a lot of credit cards from people, and obviously then they used them to get a lot of money, do a lot of shopping. Another popular attack was the FedEx smishing scam. Now, FedEx is one of the largest logistics company in the world. So the SMS claimed to be from FedEx and informing the person about a pending delivery. And it included a link to update the delivery preference, whether you want the package to be left at your doorstep if you're not there, or are you going to collect it from a local office. But what the link actually did was to take you to a malicious website, which would then install, malware on your mobile phone. And from then on, they were able to infiltrate people's mobile phones and systems and get a lot of data and sensitive information out. Now, we discussed, what are some of the possible smishing attacks, how do they work? Now, how to be safe? Let's share some tips on that. Now, the first point is that obviously you need to be aware that these type of attacks do exist. And, if you have a bit of an idea of what a typical SMS looks like in case of smishing attacks, which we just saw. And, it's always recommended never to click links in a suspicious SMS. And, even if it's a legitimate SMS, you have to be very careful. And more importantly, you should never divulge sensitive information no matter how urgent. So please remember that your bank or any financial institution or anyone, they'll never ask you to actually, share any secret passwords or PIN numbers or anything through SMS or emails, right? And the best safety tip, if you're not sure whether it's a smishing attack or not, if in doubt, just don't respond to the SMS and just find out the official helpline number to your bank, to FedEx, wherever it's claiming to come from, and just give them a call. So this way you're 100% sure that you're actually in contact with the right people. Okay, so with that we conclude our lecture. I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to the practice activity on smishing. Let's see if you can identify the red flags and spot a smishing attack. Now you have two messages, A and B. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Please go over both of them and identify which one is a legit message and which one is a smishing attack. Now, in this instance, B is a smishing attack because no bank in the world is going to ask you for your PIN number on a message or even on a phone call, right? So this is confidential information which banks would never ask you to divulge. On the other hand, message A seems to be legit because it's just a reminder and it's not asking you to click on any link. And in fact, it's asking you to either log in to the account or even call the official helpline.